For those of you who are taking Thesis Seminar, I wanted to provide a brief recap for week 15. This week we need to finish our first draft, and today I want to talk about what should be included in your completed first draft. A hard copy that you're to turn in by noon this Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Make sure that you've reviewed the course guidelines that are available in Microsoft Teams. The course guidelines we shared at the beginning of the class, and it includes a section with approximate word counts that I would take into consideration when taking a look at your final paper. Your paper should include an introductory or an introduction paragraph, and most of you completed that to begin your literature review. Make sure that the introduction paragraph begins with a hook. It offers the context of the problem, and it concludes by stating your thesis statement. Take a look at your transitional paragraph, making sure that you restate again the thesis statement. You summarize the problem, you introduce your research questions, and conclude with a closing statement. And the conclusion paragraph to end your results and discussion section should be approximately 250 words and begin again with your thesis statement, restated and reworded. After restating your thesis statement, you can talk about any limitations that you find or that were part of your study. All studies have some level of limitations, so you want to recognize those limitations and include the significance of your study and also future research. So by stating the significance, recognizing the limitations, you'll have some ideas about further research that you can suggest, thinking in the future, any other researchers who are reading your paper can get some ideas that might extend your knowledge that you've provided in your thesis and take it one step further. And then in your conclusion paragraph, I would conclude with a closing statement. Make sure you have a title of your paper, 6 to 12 words. Make sure that you have appropriate spacing. Your whole paper should be double-spaced, left justified. All paragraphs should have a 0.5-inch indentation, with the exception of the abstract. The abstract is going to be the other piece that we'll need to complete this week. The abstract should be on its own page. Just use the template that was provided to you at the beginning of the class. Should be one paragraph, approximately 250 words, and should state, basically summarize your whole paper in terms of the problem that you were researching, discuss the method section, so the participants and how you collected your data and how you analyzed it. You also want to then include your findings, summarize your findings, and your conclusions or implications that you've gathered from your study. Think of the abstract as a kind of a snapshot of your whole paper, something that a reader would probably go to first in order to determine whether or not they would want to read the entire paper. So keep that in mind when you're writing your abstract, and distinguish that from what we typically include in an introduction paragraph. So take a look at all the word counts. I've listed it here, but also it's stated in the course guidelines in terms of approximate word counts. I think we've already mentioned word counts for the literature review and the results and discussion. Approximately 2,250 words in each of those sections, approximately 500 words in the method section, divided into 3 paragraphs or 3 sections: participants, instruments and procedure, and data analysis. And double check your list of references, making sure that they adhere to APA 7th edition. Check your spacing. Make sure you're using a French indentation or a hanging indent, so that the first line is aligned to the left and all subsequent lines within the same reference have a 1/2-inch indentation. Remove any extra space. So what I would suggest for the references, I would actually single space everything and then force a hard return or an extra space, a double space between each reference. And your appendices, make sure that you have in your appendices, each appendix should have a level 1 heading that states which appendix it is, Appendix A, Appendix B, and so on. And then as a level 2, I would include the title of the appendix. In most cases, these are instruments. It might be a code book. Whatever title that you include, make sure that you're using the font style that was included in the template called Level 1 APA, Level 2 APA. If any of you are using a Level 3 heading, then use the Level 3 heading APA font style that's provided in the Word document, in the template. If you do that, if you make sure that all of your headings are correctly labeled there and that all of your text within each of your headings is set at normal, then your table of contents you should be able to update your table of contents and have your entire paper appear as it should. We'll talk about that we'll talk about that probably on Thursday in greater detail, and maybe I'll show you some examples and clarify any doubts you have regarding your formatting. So I think we'll stop there. This has just been a very brief recap for week 15. We will go into greater detail for regarding the mock presentations, which I've included a few notes here in the notes page regarding the mock presentation oral defense, but we'll talk about that in greater detail in our required whole group session this Thursday at 10 a.m. We'll be in room 7, module 3 in the language department. So we'll stop there. If you do have any questions, let me know. Reflections and tutoring sessions are no longer required for a thesis seminar at this point. Our focus should be on finishing our first completed draft again by Thursday. And again, continue to reach out to me if you do have any questions. Okay, so we'll see everybody on Thursday in our next whole group session.